It's 9-inning games, not a 7-inning game like high school. So finished the game. We played the 27 outs, and we were able to come back in the game.
And that one inning is all that it took, as the Orioles, who had been baffled by Matt Moore for 7, came away with an explosive 8th, erasing the Rays' lead and earning another win. And now for the Orioles. Can they get it done again? Make it 2 in a row, 4-game series, game 2, just like that. It's the Orioles on Masson, and we are in St. Petersburg, Florida. Oriole fans on hand for game 2 of this 4-game set. Another left-hander goes up against the Orioles. Over the last couple of seasons, opposing teams have seemed to want left-handers to be on the mound against the Orioles. Well, the numbers haven't changed very much, and they're really not that bad. Take a look at the comparison between last year and this year against left-handed starters. The Orioles last year with the 22 wins, they've got 21 this year. Their batting average almost the same. Lefty, righties. Their home run numbers against the left-hander, well, that is down. And that has cost the Orioles some runs against left-handers this season. Home runs against righties, as you see, almost exactly the same. That win percentage right in the middle of the pack in the American League against lefties. And one of the prime reasons this year is the numbers to Chris Davis. A dramatic increase in average. For Adam Jones, the numbers have gone the other way against left-handers. And for Manny Machado, same is true. So that may be why we see the left-handers against the Orioles, and we'll see another tonight, Jim.
Yeah, I think the obvious thing is when you look at the batting average, well, and even the home runs, well, Nelson Cruz no longer playing, led the American League in home runs with 40 last year. He only had 8 against left-handers, but he did hit 314. So I think the other thing, Mick Markakis used to battle him. But at the end of the day, lefties are different. I mean, no offense.
Thank you.
But they turn the ball over. Yeah, the breaking ball, if you're a right-handed hitter, comes into you. But most of the guys can pitch in off the plate, run the ball away. We saw Matt Moore do that all night long last night. He gave up a couple of hits and, 9 strikeouts in 7 innings. So against BAL, he's no different. I mean, he's going to, on the radar gun, he said, wow, I can hit him. His average fastball is about 90, 91. But he's got a good changeup. He stays in and out, and he changes speeds about as good as anybody.
And it is that time of the year where you take a look at what you may have for next season. Tyler Wilson is one of those what you may have as he's on the mound.
Yeah, they fell in love with him in the sense that he came to spring training this year, and, he does the weighted ball program, so he worked hard. Velocity went up. He was throwing 93 to 94 spring training. But again, what he does during the course of the season, the velocity dropped, but he throws strikes. He's got a cutter. He's got a curveball. He throws strikes. He can change speeds. He's a good fielder, very athletic, very bright. Those are the kind of guys you want. Now, will that play over the long term? I don't know. They don't care about that. They got 16 games to go. They need to win tonight.
All right, and there was a collision at second base in a ball game yesterday that may result in a rule change. We'll look at the injury and talk with Jonathan Scope about the need for a change. by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Back here at the Trop, Jonathan Scope, the numbers he has put up. Some really fine offense and great defense being played at second base by one of the probably foundation players for the Orioles for a long time to come. At second base, injury last night, devastating to the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was Young Ho Kang who got taken out at second base on this play. Now, the slide is legitimate if the runner is within a arm's distance of reaching that base. Coughlin was, but he caught him in the knee, injured a knee, and broke his leg. The operation was held today. The Pirates have lost their second baseman for the remainder of the season. Now, what do you think about that slide, Jonathan Scope? Should there be a new rule that says you got to slide directly to the bag?
I don't think the rule got to change, but if they come in clean, I'm okay with that. No, feet down, not feet up. If you come in feet down and hard, I'm good with that. And the baseball has been a long time already, and injury is there. Injury gonna happen. If they come clean, hard, slice down, I'm okay with that. But if they want to change the rule, I'm fine with that too.
Where did you learn? Who taught you the art of making the turn at second base? Anyway,
I think. In Curacao, we just play all the positions. I was a shortstop, but we hang around second base. If second base there, you go in there and you try to do it too. You try to do it better than him. And I play soccer a little bit too, and that's why I think my feet is like better on the base.
You make a great turn over there. There are a number of ways, I guess you can do that. Do you always try and clear the bag before you make the throw, or are you willing to take that push off the bag sometimes?
Me personally, I like to stay back. I like to let the bat protect me. If the runner want to give me, he's gonna pass the bag first, then they're gonna give me. And if the throw taking me in front, I go in the front. But most of the time, you see me stay back all the time.
Now, I saw you playing around with J.J. Hardy yesterday. He was throwing the ball to your glove, and you were kind of hitting it in the glove and letting it drop out. Were you working on that quick transfer yesterday as part of your play there?
Me and J.J. was working on something yesterday. He said if his kid used to do that, he was trying, and we couldn't do it.
That's hard coordination, isn't it? You're talking about not really closing the glove on the ball?
Leave him there and just get it, put your hands down here and catch it. JJ told me if his kid used to do that, and we was trying to do it, but I couldn't do it.
All right, you've gotten in a great portion of a season. How do you feel about what you've been able to get in this year?
I feel really good. I feel healthy. I feel good, and I feel I have a long more way to go. So I feel like I can get much better. But you got to keep working. I got to keep working. Off season, get stronger, and get better player for next year.
Well, congratulations on a great season this year, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Jonathan Scope, we appreciate his time. And the Trop is where we are. Our BGE home game time temperature, 72 degrees inside, a little bit warmer outside today. Baltimore's home heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical team. BGE Home. Why would you call anyone else? Let's take a look at the Orioles starting lineup brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Raimel Machado, Davis, Jones, Scope, Pierce, Joseph, Hardy, Alvarez the start. This month, Chris Davis finishing up with more than one big bang.
And the lefty Drew Smiley came over the David Price trade. Buck Showalter, great esteem for this youngster, said told his scouts, if you ever can get him, I'll take him. But Tampa got him, so he throws a lot of fastballs, inside, outside, about 91, maybe to 92, the top, breaking ball. Well-controlled curveball. If you're right-handed, he'll throw it at your back foot. Good changeup. So, again, he had a labrum tear early and then shoulder tendonitis, so missed a lot of starts. You can see the numbers, again, better by righties. All the home runs hit by right-handed. And, again, he has already pitched against the Orioles and pitched very well.
Reimold will start it off for the Orioles and take the pitch up high for a ball. Nolan comes in with a hit streak going with a 1-for-3. In the ball game last night. Smiley's pitch to him. For Smiley, he pitched against the Orioles on September 1st. No runs, 4 hits, 7 innings. The Orioles had never beaten this left-hander. He is 3-0 with a save against the Orioles in 7 appearances, 4 of those as a starter. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Yeah, he coasted into the 4th inning, and the Rays got him 4 runs, and then in the 5th, another 4. He pitched very well, as he's certainly capable of doing. Again, coming off a game where Red Sox, one of the hottest teams in baseball, 6 innings, 4 hits, a couple of walks, 11 strikeouts, tied his career high.
And the 3-1 delivery will be taken for a strike by Reimold, who was hoping to get a walk out of that. During his hit streak, he is 9 for 26. Productive, 7 runs scored, and 6 RBIs during the 7-game hit streak. And a swing and a miss got him on a Taylor away.
Well, that's how he does it. Again, he's very deceptive. He starts with a closed stance. I mean, look at him. It's over his hand. The angle to the plate, downhill. About 6'3", and then you can see right there from the overhead view, the ball was right on the outside quarter of the plate. And that's going to get a lot of people out.
Smiley, just 26 years old. So again, this Tampa Bay team's loaded with opportunities. We saw more last night, only 26 years old, another left-hander. Pitch is in there for a strike. Here is Manny Machado. Manny's got a 3-game hit streak going coming into the ball game. He continued it with a 1 for 4 last night. Manny will take the pitch, and it'll be outside for a ball. Orioles trying to get a win against the lefty, 21-19 as we showed you against left-handers. And also a win tonight would give them the season series against the Rays, which would be the 2nd consecutive season in which the Orioles would claim the season series against Tampa Bay. Buck Showalter's ball club just 2 games below 500 now, 72 and 74. They are 4.5 out in the wild card race, 70 and 76 for Tampa Bay. Swing and a miss on a pitch up and away, 2 Ks.
So let's see, back-to-back curveballs, change up, and then 91 miles per hour, and it looks like it's 100. Again, the deception. Just take a look. Arancibia goes right to the outside corner. Not only does he throw it, he's got great late life. Little 2-seamer. Again, you think it's going to be on the plate, and it ends up just running away from the bat head.
Making just his 9th start of the year with that torn left labrum that took him out. 60-day DL. Swing and a miss by Chris Davis. Chris has had 2 hits off Smiley, and both of them are home runs. He is 2 for 14. See the 0 for he had in the ball game last night, 0 for 3. And the pitch will miss a little bit down low. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Chris. Continues to be on top with Nelson Cruz and a tie for the home run lead in the American League with 42. And the RBI numbers now 107 for Chris.
Take a look at the defense, and a little different than last night. Sizemore took Souza Jr. That's the outfield. Longoria, Peckham, Franklin. Nick Franklin playing second base. James Stoney with 3 hits over first, and J.P. Arancibia doing the catching.
And he strikes out the side on a swinging 3rd strike. So Smiley gets it done. 59 strikeouts in 50 innings. for the Rays. Jaso, Matuk, Longoria, Sizemore, Souza, Loney, Arancibia, Franklin, and Beckham. Jaso had that home run we'll show you again that ended up not coming down last night.
So Tyler Wilson on for his third major league start, and it will be his 7th appearance. So again, a lot of fastballs and a little cutter off that, so he can pitch to both sides of the plate when he's on his game. Low ERA. I mean, not a lot of appearances. He's been very good in his starts. Got beat by Chris Sale. And then was able to pitch very against Oakland. Came in relief. Pitched against Toronto. We know they can hit 5 2/3 innings. Longest relief stint of anybody. Only gave up a run. So again, very capable of making you as a hitter pitch, and he can pitch to contact. I'd be surprised if he's wild, Gary.
Jaso up will take the pitch up high for a ball. Jaso had that home run last night, 1 for 4. He's got a 4-game hit streak. An unusual night tonight. We have DHs leading off for both teams. You don't see that very often. Big shift on against John Jaso, and the pitch will be taken up high. 2-0 count. Third start for Wilson. And that big variation with limited number of at-bats of lefties way up 298 and righties way down 206. Tyler's delivery on the way, and that will be there for his strike.
Yeah, don't expect him to light up the radar gun, because it'll be 88 to maybe 90, 91.
2-1 count, and that pitch, a little wrinkle on it, is in there for a strike.
Well, Gary, if you can do that, you're going to get a lot of hitters out, because it doesn't have to. And we saw Smiley do it. Get me over curveball, and then if you get ahead or you get into a pitcher's count, maybe you finish it a little bit more. But it certainly will get you back into the count.
2-2 delivery on the way, and he got him to chase one. Came in with the 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
So you get behind, you get back in the count. He's looking fastball. You throw him the curveball, and then you zip it by him. So 4 hitters, all of them down on strikes tonight.
Mikey Montook coming up. Here I come to save the day. I don't know why that reminded me of that, but it does. Because that's his real name. It's Mikey Montook.
Well, teammate of Kevin Gausman at LSU.
It's his 4th pro season, AAA ball this year. And he is one of the players getting an opportunity to be seen for the Tampa Bay Rays this season. With the call-ups late in the year. He's getting the start in center field in this game. And he'll line that one to center, and he's got a base hit. First ball game hit tonight after 4 Ks.
Take a look at the O's defense here in St. Petersburg. Pierce, Jones, and Alvarez. Machado, Hardy, Gold Glovers, Scope playing like one. Davis, and then Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
Evan Longoria is 0 for last night. Extended a real tough streak he's in. He's only had 1 hit in his last 21 at-bats. And a 206 average over the last 9 games. So Longoria in a bit of a funk here in the final month of the season. Runner at first base, and a fairly good lead. It'll be taken for a strike. Both pitchers should benefit tonight. Behind the plate, Sean Barber, whose professional career has shown that strike zone generally tends to favor the pitchers, substantially so. We'll see if it stays that way tonight. 0-1 count. Back of the box, open stance, Longoria. He probably stands, well, he stands as far back as you legally are supposed to, because his back foot's almost out of the batter's box. You see how he's got that stance open, so his head, he's looking right straight out, gets both eyes, and then closes it up as he gets ready to swing. 0-1 delivery, and that one up. 1-1.
Yeah, a lot of hitters will tell you we have an open stance, and of course I remember when Jay Buhner, and he had open, I mean, good looking guy but with a little large nose. Matt Williams, they said they used to open their head so that because their nose actually kept them from seeing with both eyes. So you open up and then you step towards the plate.
And you hit a towering pop-up in the white of the roof. That will be handled hopefully in left field on a tough play. Pierce trying to make sure he still saw that, got over and put it away. It's not easy. 2 down. The tick goes back to first. Outfielders on all fly balls tend to smile. You see, he was giving the sign to Jones in center, who was giving him a little what for. Adam never misses a chance to do a little something.
Yeah, and of course you're on Longoria, so you're deep, and then you got to gallop on this turf, and then don't lose sight of the ball, because if you do, you're not going to ever regain that.
So now runner at first base, big shift on. Sizemore came on last night, late in the ball game. That one will be out of play at an 0 for 1. He gets to start left field and is batting cleanup. Grady Sizemore, veteran player, of course, is coming over after last year in playing in Philadelphia. 266 career hitter for Sizemore, who now is 33 years old. 0-1 count. Runner off first base. And a ground to the other way. They had the shift on. There was nobody close. Pierce will hold the runner at second base. Sizemore's on with a single.
Yeah, just because you hit fourth doesn't mean you can't take advantage. Tyler Wilson makes a good pitch away. Pretty much it's the only place you can hit it. Nobody's playing there.
So the first chance of the ball game will go to Tampa Bay here in the first inning. Tyler Wilson will work to Souza, who's playing in right field in the ball game tonight. Souza had an 0 for 0, but he got on all 4 times. He had 3 walks and was hit by a pitch last night and scored a run. Even though the line on him is 0-0. 2 on, 2 down. Souza will take it, and it'll be up for a ball. Last night, 2 for 7 for Tampa Bay with runners in scoring position. They have the lowest team, second lowest team batting average in that department this year at 237. Wilson 1 out away from getting out of it. And the pitch, a bouncer. Good stop made by Joseph.
Well, the one thing about Steven Souza Jr., he will take the walk, as you mentioned. And, a lot of strikeouts, 131. Big time power. Had the broken hand, so he missed almost 40 games. But he's coming off, and the reason they went out and got him was the incredible number he put at AAA last year for the Nats. He had 350, 26 home runs. He can run. And again, he got to make adjustments when you come to the big leagues, because they're going to adjust.
Tyler Wilson, 2-0 count on him. Souza will pop that one up right field. Alvarez almost in place, will put it away. Good job by Wilson. Get out of it. No runs, a couple of hits, no errors. 2 are left on base after 1. No score. In our ball game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Tyler Wilson going after his 3rd win, works out of the first small jam, if there is such a thing for a pitcher, and I doubt there is.
No. Well, as long as you think it is, and then you get him out, then you go, well, no big deal. But it was a big deal.
Left 2 on.
They want to get runs for Smiley.
Adam Jones coming up. Jones, Scope, and Pierce. Adam 2 for 15 off Smiley. One of those hits a home run. Had the 1 for 4, 2 RBIs. Ball game last night. Big hit. It came in the Orioles' 8th inning when they got 4 runs and 5 hits after they had been shut down by Moore through 7. Adam a little chat back with Sean Barber on a called strike. Hitting just .222 against the Rays this year. He's had a tough time against good pitching, obviously. Overall from the Rays, he has hit the 7 home runs, 7 RBIs, no home runs this year against them.
Well, good staffs have the ability, because most of those guys can command their stuff, so you have a game plan. Here, it's a very difficult park to hit in because of the foul territory, and the ball didn't carry last night.
Adam will take the pitch inside on a bouncer away. Smiley's been giving up home runs of late since coming back off the DL. The home run ball has been a bit of a bother for him. We'll see whether or not that continues. A couple against Detroit and a couple of starts ago. And 3 in a ball game earlier this year. Swung on, tag, out, 4 strikeouts in a row.
Well, perfectly executed curveball. And again, we talk about why does he struggle against the Rays, because they have pitchers, and Smiley's one of them, that can execute the game plan, and that is try to get ahead, try to get Adam to chase early in the count out of the zone, because he hits strikes better than balls. And then when you do get 2 strikes, get him to chase something underneath the zone. And that's exactly what he did.
Here is Jonathan Scope. They have pitched him away throughout the season, trying to get him to chase pitches that are outside the strike zone. He continues to flirt with that 300 mark. That'll be a strike. 10-game hit streak coming into this ball game for him. He has really been hitting the ball hard. It's a truly legit streak. Hitting for power and RBIs. He did not go around on that. 2 for 4 in the game last night. He's now had 11 multi-hit games on the road since the All-Star break. That's the most of any Oriole. 2-1 count. Smiley's delivery to him. That'll be in the air to right field. Hit pretty good. Sousa's there, though. At least the Orioles can say it wasn't a strikeout. Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers. He's made a difference.
Yeah, he really has, and because he can pitch. And you got to understand when you give up a David Price, obviously small market team down here, and he wasn't going to sign here, so you try to get good players. And if of course, he could stay healthy because of the labor problems, but when he does, it may not be a David Price, but he gives you a pretty good chance to win every time he goes out there.
Well, you put Moore and Smiley in a rotation, healthy for a year, you're off to a pretty good start.
Well, what if you get Cobb back coming off Tommy John? Yeah. You know, before the season started, they said in the American League East there was only one true number 1 because Tanaka was hurt, and that was going to be Alex Cobb, and then he had to have Tommy John surgery. Now that still would have had to prove it.
Here's Went. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Steve. Dale Scott, crew chief, down at first.
And then let's not forget Chris Archer, who just broke the all-time Rays strikeout record.
Right. 1-2, and that hits him. That hurt, and he just kind of dropped the bat behind him. Smiley will do that to you because that is the way he pitches. Not intentional, but he'll work in.
Yeah, here's the breaking ball, and it skips. Steve Pierce says ow and goes down to first.
That's the first hit batter in the 50 innings work this year by Smiley. Steve Pierce is on. He's been hit by a pitch 7 times this year. I think that ties him for the lead. He and Chris Davis both hit 7 times. And the pitch taken away. Here's Caleb Joseph back behind the plate. Did not play last night. He has a 2 for 7 off Smiley. Orioles get their first base runner on a hit batter. 1-0 pitch on the way, and that'll miss.
Yeah, Caleb, not a bad September. Hadn't hit a home run yet. 261. We all know his power is inside, maybe thigh high, inside half. Balls that he will pull. if he gets one here.
Low delivery on the way to him. It'll be outside. So Smiley falls behind. 3-0 and Caleb Joseph with Hardy on deck.
I let him swing right here, and the reason I say that is just, J.J. Hardy has not been swinging the bat well. If you get one, it's how you beat some guys that are good pitchers.
And walked him on 4 straight. Smiley spread his arms out like, gee, how come there wasn't a strike? And he's looking into the dugout, asking the same question.
Well, so his manager, Jim Hickey's going to help him umpire?
I don't think so.
No, not going to happen.
So with 2 down, the Orioles get a couple on as Pierce, hit by a pitch, goes to second. Joseph, the walk, is on at first. And here's J.J. Hardy. J.J. with an 0 for 4 last night. 0 for his last 10. And he is 0 for 7 against Smiley. And now Smiley's got a little thing going here. Now Barber, the home plate umpire, is looking over to the dugout, telling him that's enough. As they're on him, we said he's an umpire noted for giving the pitcher the doubt.
Well, the ball was low, and you don't get more pitches doing that.
That'll be outside, and that's going to bring the veteran catcher and Sebia just to try and settle down his starter now.
Yeah, in the old days, what you could do if a ball was questionable, you would actually gesture. What if it's on the corner? Was it low or was it outside? And the umpires would go along with it. But you do it nicely because you want them on your side as much as they can be.
Always a good choice.
And then maybe some that kind of a short fuse. And hopefully Weaver was having a good day, so that fuse would not be lit. And you might get a pitch or two. Yeah.
So Hardy's got a 2-0 count with 2 down. JJ will take it. And it is there for a strike. JJ with a battered and bruised body this season. And will play through with it. He's hit just 114 since coming off the DL on September 8th. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Runners on first and second base. That's going to be there too.
Yeah, and when you don't feel well, you jump out, so you're susceptible to the breaking ball. Your bat speed is limited, and we've seen that. It's just very tough. It started with that freak shoulder injury in spring training, the front side, which gets you the ball.
Orioles last night were 4 for 10 in these situations. A lot of chances. Here's the 2-2 delivery on the way, and Hardy will foul it back.
Yeah, the Orioles get 7 hits, but they lump 5 in the 8th, and that did the job.
Orioles with a really magnificent comeback in that ball game last night. 32nd comeback win of the year. Here's the 2-2 delivery on the way, and Hardy will foul that one off again. That win last night was the 8th time the Orioles have won a game when they've trailed by 3 or more. And they had, before that victory last night, they had lost all 44 games this year when they trailed by 3 or more in the 8th inning. The first time they'd had that late a comeback of 3 or more runs. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Over the top, got him swinging, fouled it off.
Yeah, you can't pin it against your body, and that curveball hit J.P. Aracebia's body, and then he tried to get it in the glove. So, this is an emergency hack. So it hits the glove. Now, if you somehow could catch it, let's see right there, that's the dead ball. But he's trying to get the glove on it.
He didn't know where it was. 2 ball, 2 strike count, still 2 down. Pierce on at second, Joseph on at first. And he got it way back in left field, and Hardy, goodbye home run. A 3 RBI homer by J.J. Hardy on a 2-2 count with 2 down. And the Orioles have a 3-0 lead.
Well, the body must have felt pretty good on that one. And I just run it, or really trot around the bases, is good for everybody. Well, that's the old J.J. Hardy there. That's what you kind of expect because he's been so good. I mean, last year he had back injuries, but 25, 22, 30 home runs ever since he put the Oriole uniform on, and he got on that fastball.
So the Orioles, a big blow by Hardy here in the second inning, the 10th home run surrendered by Smiley now in the year, all of them hit by right-handers. And that one is under the feet of Alvarez.
Well, take a look right here. I mean, Smiley's been out of the middle of the plate, and this is right down the middle. Again, you can look for a pitch, you can hope to get one, you can drive, and he really hit that ball up over the railing of the ramp. That's a good changeup to the young hitter.
Hardy's first hit in his career off Smiley, his first home run against Tampa Bay this year, and the third home run in his career in this ballpark.
Yeah, so there's 101. So that's some bat speed. Major league average about 77.
Ariel Alvarez playing in right field, batting ninth, 0 for 2 last night. And J.J. Hardy, that's a big hit. That one tomahawked to third. Longoria will make the play in the out recorded. So the Orioles, a hit batter with 2 down, followed by a walk to Joseph, followed by J.J. Hardy, his 8th home run of the season, and the Orioles have a 3-0 lead.
Well, there you go, and he's just pitched well. Started in spring training. It doesn't matter whether he starts or he leaves. He's come in when other Orioles starters have struggled against the same team like Toronto and done extremely well. He also pitched very well, 3 1/3 innings against the Yankees, 5 2/3 against the Jays, where he gave up what? So that's 9 innings. He gave up 1 run, Yankees and Jays.
So Wilson with some runs to work with. And the pitch on the way will be up high. Loney gets a shot at it. James Loney, good season numbers. He's been hot of late, 3 for 4 in the ball game last night. Orioles put the shift on against him. Aaron Sebia, then Franklin, 6, 7, 8 in the order. And that fastball will be inside. Tyler Wilson, of course, Cavalier, University of Virginia, from Midlothian, VA. Born in Lynchburg. Familiar with the Orioles. And a dream come true for him. And that pitch is going to miss down low. So he falls behind on Loney, 3-0. First appearance he has made against the Tampa Bay Rays. So they get a look at him for the first time other than on the video. 3-0 pitch, and he walked him.
Well, that's a strike, but it's not a strike, as he schooled me yesterday. It's supposed to be a strike, doesn't work all the time. Am I correct there? Drew Smiley would probably testify to that.
He would. And as part of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, Orioles are partnering with the Maryland Governor Larry Hogan to raise funds for the Leukemia Lymphomia Society and Ronald McDonald Houses. They would like you to contribute Orioles $50,000 check has been presented. You can go to Orioles.com/charity, and the Orioles will give you, for your contributions, 50% off ticket discount for the upcoming Blue Jays series. Aaron Sebia takes the pitch up high, and with that, 5 in a row out of the strike zone. Caleb Joseph will head out. The club has just given you the 3 runs.
Oh, there you go.
You want to have a nice quick inning.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you also, I mean, that's not the good strike-to-ball ratio. But it is, you know, he comes out of the AAA, and if you're sitting at home, yes, they use a different baseball. Why they do that? It's less expensive. It feels a little bit different. This guy can hit home runs. Look at those numbers. He's done a great job. 15 RBIs in 17 games.
1-0 delivery to him, and that is in there for a strike. Back a little bit at 88 miles an hour on that one.
And you can hope that maybe you're going to get him to hit a ground ball, one of your guys, maybe a little cutter. He's got big-time power. I mean, he always has. He has moved off the plate, said he sees the ball better.
That ball on a check swing is going to be fouled away. Played with Toronto. Orioles familiar with that big bat. He has used it against them. Lifetime .276 hitter with 8 home runs against the Orioles.
Well, he was in their spring training camp. He tried to make the Orioles, and then when he didn't, he went to AAA Durham. Worked his way back to the big leagues.
1-2, runner off first base. Aaron Sebia fouls it right straight back. When he got a pretty good cut on right there. So Aaron Sebia trying to pick up 1 or more here as the Rays will try and answer. They don't score a lot of runs, as we've told you. They are last in the American League in runs scored, averaging 3.8 per ball game. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and a ground ball to the hole. Hardy over, goes to second. One scope, relay, throw it away. It'll go off the front of the dugout. They had a chance for 2 on that one. Hardy able to get the force to Jonathan Scope.
Now, J.J. Hardy has to go way to his right, so it slows the timing down anyway, but it makes a perfect throw, and it's just a bad throw. You know, Jonathan talked to you about how he uses the base as really a kind of a cushion or a divider between the runner, and he can do that because he has such a strong arm. It just was something we don't often see, because that should have been and could have been a double play.
And Sebia slow of foot, taking a while to get down there, but he's at first on a fielder's choice. That'll bring Nick Franklin to the plate. Franklin did not play in the ball game last night. Goes after that one out to left field. Pierce will put it away. Runner all the way down to second base, back to first. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Shirts back.
I saw a young lady walking out of her hotel actually with that shirt as a kind of like a maybe a sun shift or a bathing suit. So
wasn't the lady in the dress we've seen before, was it?
Maybe it was. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They had it tailored, probably took the material. And
we saw her at the previous game. She had made a dress out of 2 shirts and was in Anaheim.
The dress is here.
That dress is here. 1-0 count, 2 down. That'll be a cause for further investigation, as our camera crew will search out lady in Hawaiian dress. Should be pretty easy in this crowd. And that ball ripped in the air, left field. Pierce going back, looking up, and goodbye home run. Beckham with a line shot right over the 370-foot mark. Makes it a 1-run game.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, the dialogue at the cage, Gary, as you know, can go everywhere. Rene Rivera, who came over to be the regular catcher but hasn't hit well. Beckham's hitting balls like this during batting practice. He said, boy, you really hit well at 455. And Beckham says, well, I'm going to try to do it closer to maybe 7:30. And I don't know what time it is.
It was a little late.
Yeah, or maybe 7:45, and he was on time. And
boy,
course,
what a line drive that was.
Well, he's got some power.
Well, that's 9 home runs he's hit now in 174 at bats.
See, there's Rivera, and they're kidding him because he said anybody can do it in batting practice. But can you do it when the game starts? Yes.
Yes, he can.
Yes.
So it's a 3-2 ball game. That's the first home run surrendered by Tyler Wilson in the 2 starts, 6 appearances. Here is Jaso at the top of the order. 3-2 ball game. That's the blast that brings him back. Jaso, a strikeout victim his first time up, will take the pitch down low for a ball.
Yeah, a couple of extra outs here in the sense that you get a 3-run lead, as you mentioned, then you walk the leadoff batter. Scope usually makes a good throw, does it? They don't get the double play, and that solo home run, which you can live with, is a 2-run that gets them back into the game.
Jaso will take it up high. So Wilson falls behind on Jaso. 3 balls, 1 strike. There are 2 down here. Orioles, the J.J. Hardy's home run, have 197, 145 for Tampa Bay. Into the shift, Jonathan Scope way out there and right will make the play. And Jaso is retired, but a couple of runs in on 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. Beckham the homer, 3-2. States Air Force, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. And by DynCorp International, we serve today for a better tomorrow. The Air Force, initially part of the U.S. Army, don't remind them of that. Air Force formed as a separate branch September 18, 1947. Air Force celebrates this date as its official birthday, but their history really goes back as far as the winged craft itself. If you'd like to read all about that, David McCullough's book, The Wright Brothers, touches on that substantially and how the U.S. initially was very dubious of the plane ever being used by the military for any reason. Swing and a foul tip as Nolan Reimold up for the second time, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Machado and then Davis to follow. 3-2 ball game now. Smiley with the pitch up and away. 1-0 this year, 3-0 lifetime. The Orioles have already bettered his career ERA against him. That one back. Reimold at the wall. And a nice catch made. Sizemore. Grady Sizemore. Reimold retired.
Well, a little mini tornado as he kind of a whirling dervish. Former Gold Glover before all the injuries, and there were probably 4 or 5 major injuries. But again, all-star. Could do everything to beat you a game. So he turns the wrong way but finds the ball and then snares it before it becomes a double. Well, once he got his eyes on it, a leaping grab.
So a long out and a big swing. Manny Machado, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Grady Sizemore, he is truly one of those players you wonder, but for the injuries, what might have been.
Well, he could do everything. He could field, he could steal bases, he could hit home runs, he was a 5-tool guy.
still valuable enough. Teams want him. Machado thinking about up high, will stay off it. Manny over the last 16 hitting an even 300. And he's been on base 40% of the time over the last 16 games. His on base percentage at .411 over that time frame. Breaking ball will be inside, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, at age 23, he is, of course, this is the first year that he's done this, but he's become a complete player. I mean, in all facets of the game.
2-2 delivery by Smiley will be fouled off the other way.
I mean, he can hit for power anywhere. The home run he hit the other night in Baltimore, just a screamer to right center. He can hit the breaking ball. Terrific fielder. I mean, there are more errors than he would probably make in a year with 18. A lot of them throwing. He can hit for average. He can steal bases.
2-2 delivery to Machado, and that'll be in the dirt. So a full count, 3-2 on him. Manny comes in, one of 2 Orioles in the top 10 in hits. He is 6th. Chris Davis is now 9th in hits, right behind him. I should correct that. That's runs scored, not hits. Manny is 6th in hits. Check swing, and he'll get down.
Yeah, he trusts the earlier strike zone that Sean Barber had. A lot of umpires, as we mentioned last night, calling the low strike. That was one of them. I mean, it was a low pitch, but nice eye.
Our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Francis Gear, has won $500 for being selected, $500 more for every Orioles home run hit. You can play baseball bucks scratch-offs today, win up $50,000 instantly, and learn more at mdlottery.com/baseball. Shift will be put on against Davis. He'll play a double play depth, strikeout victim, his first time up. And they're not going to get him. Nobody to cover second, and nobody to cover third. And Delaran Sebia runs down, and there's a screw-up because of the shift. Nobody knew who was going to cover second base after they got him picked off.
Yeah, you can see Longoria, and it's a little bit too late. Heads up play. Of course, you know, Smiley's got a good read. Buck was talking about it. Buck Showalter, the Oriole manager, saying he's got a good idea of when you're going to run and whatever, but he's slow. And you know, Red Sox couldn't really hit him, but again, he just goes on his first move, and then Loney makes a good throw, but except nobody's there. And then that's what you were talking about. Manny sees that nobody's at third until JP gabbled, kind of trotted down there to make sure he didn't take an extra base.
They're doing the video on the Tampa Bay side here to see about the call at second base and whether or not they want to issue a challenge here. Kevin Cash came out to the top of the dugout, and they do. So they're going to challenge the call on the tag at second base, whether Machado was in or not. Yeah, it's a tough one. You got a third baseman over there, the only one on that left side of the bag, not used to covering.
Yeah, and you can see Loney does everything right. He takes the angle. I don't think they got him. Didn't look from there. I mean, obviously the throw it beats him, but it's off the bag by about 3 or 4 feet. You can't even tell from that angle. Certainly nothing to change.
So the fans watching it on the big board while the umpires, Dale Scott is the crew chief, goes over there with the second base umpire, C.B. Buckner, with his back to you. And they will wait for New York to tell them. While they do, we'll remind you the Orioles will be back at it against this club tomorrow. Wei-Yin Chen, Erasmo Ramirez. That'll be an earlier game, Saturday night game, 5:30 O's extra, 6 o'clock for the game.
Yeah, that's a little bit closer there. Again, it has to be definitive enough to change the call in the field, which was safe. That might do it there, though. Never know.
He is out.
So again, they obviously thought they got him up on the forearm before the hand got in.
So it goes as a caught stealing, which is always a crazy rule to me when the pitcher has really picked him off. But if the runner's going, it's a caught stealing. So 1-3-5 caught stealing, and there are 2 down. Obviously a big call. And Davis will take the pitch down low. So Chris now with nobody on and 2 away, and a 1-0 count. Smiley's delivery will be put up in the air, foul territory, and into the seats.
Now, you don't get a lot of, even though you talk about the home runs, but you don't get a lot of hanging sliders, and that was one of them. It's a pitch that a lot of times Chris Davis will really hit hard somewhere.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery. I'm getting the sense, and I hope this isn't unfair, but as we've gone along this season, my sense is on review plays, the umpires in New York are almost doing it de novo. Never mind the weighted evidence necessary. It's almost like they're looking at the play as though they were making the call as original callers on the play.
Well, if that was the case, that it would be enough to overrule calls. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be there's enough evidence to overrule what the call was. So again,
trouble is you got the 3 standards. You got call was right, third call was wrong, and then that middle standard of not enough to overturn it. And my sense is that's kind of been obliterated.
So if they don't think it was the right call, they just automatically go to step 3.
They do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that, but it just seems that way. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Maybe that's a better rule. That'll be fouled away. And Chris Davis with a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, it's fascinating to me because if you looked at those 3 angles, 2 of them didn't look like there was anything, and the third one looked like it was. And because that's all they need.
2-2 delivery on the way will be outside. So Smiley with 2 down, a 3-ball, 2-strike count on Davis. Orioles winners of 7 of their last 9 ball games. Tampa Bay's lost 5 of 6, and Davis is going to get a walk. Well, that is the 3rd walk surrendered by Smiley, who had given up only 11 in 49 innings coming into the ball game, and that's 2 he has surrendered in this inning. But there are 2 down. Adam Jones, a strikeout victim, his first time to the plate. Jones now will be 2 for 16 against Smiley. Smiley's had to throw a few pitches already in this ball game. Jones will take it. It'll be a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, the big strike zone that Sean Barber's supposed to have, not as big as Lance Barrett's last night. So it might lead to something about walks. You think you're going to get strikes and you're not.
0-1 delivery on the way. Jones will take that one. It is away. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. One with 2 away. Jones on the big cut on the off-speed delivery. 1 and 2.
They're just a little off. Drew Smiley reminds me of old school pitchers in the sense that he really has a good feel for pitching. He's never going to give you the look that he's overthrowing something. Nice and smooth, and just make my pitch, hit my spot, execute the pitch wherever I'm trying to do it, and that's going to be it. And his claim to fame in my book is that he went to the same high school as Brooks Robinson. Little Rock Central.
That'll do it.
In Arkansas.
1 ball, 2-strike count. Davis on at first base. Jones down to third. Longoria makes the running throw to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. The Orioles up by 1. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by PNC Bank for the Achiever Indian. Beautiful St. Petersburg, where a lot of old Florida in the finest of style still exists. Over the bridge from Tampa. 3-2 game. And we'll go to the bottom of the third inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up. Mikey Matuk, a base hit his first time up off Wilson. And Longoria and Sizemore.
I would imagine maybe they faced each other in AAA. Seemed to be familiar with his stuff as he hit the first fastball right into center. Yeah, they talk about five-tool kids. We talked to everybody I talked to said comes out of, as we mentioned, LSU, and he can play. He can do everything: run and throw and hit for power.
Ball put up in the air down the line, headed to the seats, and there'll be no play. He was an outstanding college player, 3 years at LSU, where he hit .344, set a lot of marks for the school, and then high draft choice. He was 31st overall, first round.
Well, Kevin Gosman said he can hit everything. He's a better low ball hitter than high ball hitter. He said if you get ahead, and this is Kevin, his former teammate, talking. I don't know if you throw 98 like Kevin does, you can get him up in the zone, but he looks like he's had a chance to be a good young player.
Playing in center field. Scope moves right behind second base on the count, and that'll be fouled off. Came up and caught him.
Yeah, Tyler Wilson, he made the mistake to Beckham, made the mistake of the walk alone with a 3-run lead, at least after he was presented one. But he's got a nice little two-seamer. That's how he got out of the last inning. And that's the way he's going to have to pitch. Cannot at 90 leave the ball in the middle of the plate. From what we've seen, with a couple of exceptions, Matuk is still trying to walk this off because he hit that sinker right down on his.
Two ball, 2 strike delivery on the way. And again, he will foul that one off outside of third base. Count stays 2-2.
Now he's got to check his fingers and his knuckles because he's running that ball right in on him.
Hurting all around now.
Yeah.
He has both the upper and the lower body injury. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Tyler Wilson on the way to him, and that will miss up high.
Yeah, you move that ball in 2 inches and this game's tied. Just a hanging slider. Got to get on top of it. This one you don't.
So 3-2. Ripped. Fair ball. He barreled up on that one. It'll take a hop off the wall. Pierce will come over to get it. It'll be a 2-bagger leading off the third inning. Good at bat. He earned that one.
Well, he hits his ankle, it gets jammed, and then he finally gets it. I mean, this is a running fastball, but it starts in outside middle, ends up in the middle, and it's a double over the bag. Welcome to the big leagues. What happens, good young hitters. If you're a #1 draft choice, you're going to have a good swing at that pitch, or you didn't sign the right guy.
So Evan Longoria will stand in. Longoria flied out his first time up. Hitting .236 against the Orioles this season, but a productive average. Longoria will foul it back. He has had 5 home runs against the Orioles and 9 RBIs this year. 29 homers in his career against Oriole pitching. Runner at second base. Wilson working with nobody out. Infield back. Longoria waits the 0-1 and a chopper. Runner will go to third. Look at the spin on that. Throw is there in time.
Well, I'll tell you, talk about a cue shot. If he hit it right on the, some of the bats are cupped at the end. Looked like he got it. Need to chalk the end of your bat. Tyler does a nice job staying with that tricky hop off the turf. But as I mentioned, look at that spin. And then he kind of gets it part on the glove and part in the hand, but makes a nice throw.
Longoria is not that fast, and that turned out to be a pretty close play. So Matuk moves over to third base. Here's Grady Sizemore. His job, get him in. The infield is drawn in. Sizemore, a base hit, his first time up. That'll be a little bit inside. Backed him off at the numbers. You see the infield all the way in. Try and cut that run down. Sizemore trying to get it tied up one way or another. Wilson's delivery to him, and that will tail away 2-0.
Yeah, in the old days, before the microfracture, before all the health problems, the Tommy John and whatever, his legs were where you in the third inning would not be playing him because he could steal a bag. Doesn't run like he used to because of all those injuries. Take a little bit of a gamble here.
Inside, Joseph sliding to make the stop. So a 3-0 count. Souza's waiting on deck. The number 5 hitter. There's one away.
Well, the only thing when you have a young pitcher, he's a rookie, when you bring the infield in, it changes, I think, the way you go after hitters. Sometimes you think you got to throw a ground ball, and I got to make my pitch. But the last thing you want to do is walk Sizemore.
Sizemore hitting just 194 with runners in scoring position this year. 3 ball, 1 strike count, runner off third. Wilson's delivery to him, and that'll be down the line. It is not deep. Runner's going to tag. Pierce coming. It is a foul ball.
Now you're on the mound, and when that ball goes up, you're just hoping. You know what Grady Sizemore wants. He wants it to fall fair, and you know nobody's going to get there. And it's a couple of feet foul.
So he's come back, take it 3-2. Talking with Joseph on what they want to throw here. Three, 2, 1 down. Took let it off for the double, moved to third.
And he's got good speed. So when you bring your infield in on turf, it's got to be hit right at somebody.
3-2. Looking for a strikeout. And won't get it. Runner's going to come. Davis up, and they got him dead to right. He is out. No question about that one. So the drawn-in infield works as Chris Davis delivers the strike to Caleb Joseph, who had to wait for the runner to get there.
Yeah, but again, we know that not only can he pitch, this is a nice play because he goes down and then a perfect throw. And it beats him, but Caleb can catch it. He can give him, right here, with foot's not over the line, he gives him the angle to the outside corner and then applies the tag before he gets there. The other side of the coin is Tyler Wilson made a nice pitch. A little two-seam fastball, had a little movement. That's how you throw a ground ball, and he was able to do it.
So Davis combining the Orioles' #1 defense again makes a big play, and you see how well ahead it was, and now Caleb covered the ball with his bare hand.
And there's no interference because of that avenue to the plate.
So now 2 down with a runner on at first base. Souza flied out his first time up. This will be a confidence builder for Wilson and the Orioles. You get a leadoff double in the inning, get an out at the plate, and if you can do it, get him out right here. It's an inning, half an inning that you win. And that was the potential tying run. Here's the 0-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be fouled back as well. So Souza going after a couple. Wilson looking to just get him out. Get into the D if you can. Their right fielder has done a great job in the outfield with assists this year. And that one up in the air to right. Alvarez, ball coming back to him. And he's got it. Good job by Wilson with a little help from his D. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Orioles up after 3. Gulf Coast. Go beyond the stadium to Siesta Beach. Named winner of the 2015 TripAdvisor Traveler's Choice Awards for beaches. You can plan now at visitsarasota.org. Orioles with a 3-2 lead here. Chasing down, trying to make a miracle out of it, get a wild card spot. New York, Houston hold those positions right now, and ahead of the Orioles, Minnesota, the Angels, and Cleveland. Cleveland has jumped out to a 6-0 lead in their ball game tonight, and the Angels are playing at Minnesota. And that's one of the problems when you get teams in front of you. You're not going to gain ground on somebody because one of those teams has got to win. Here's Jonathan Scope. And Scope with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Flied out to right first time up. Scope, Pierce, and Joseph against Drew Smiley. 1-1 delivery over the screen. Jonathan this season, .333 average against the Rays. 1 home run. And again, reaching for one, this time up. Stays at 1-2.
Well, just imagine if you're playing defense behind Drew Smiley. He takes about 10 seconds to get ready to pitch. And other than the 3 walks, normally is a strike thrower. Got to be on your toes.
Yeah. Swing and a foul tip and held on to, got him. Aaron Sebia got that one.
And that almost looked like a changeup. Had a little wrinkle on it, but maybe just took something off. 76 miles per hour. Nope. Maybe a curveball, whatever it was. And then you're going to see the after swing. Jonathan with the right on top of JP Aaron Sebia's head.
Aaron Sebia held on to it. 1 down. It's 5 strikeouts. Popped up first base. Loney off the bat of Pierce. 2 outs. Orioles are going to return home to begin the final week of the season. 4 games against the Jays starting Monday the 28th. Wednesday, September 30, all fans receive the Miguel Gonzalez designed t-shirt, and we hope you'll be there for that one, the final t-shirt giveaway. You can get tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. It's the mariachi t-shirt with Miguel Gonzalez, your designer. And that pitch will be taken away for a ball. Caleb Joseph, a walk, run scored. Hardy, the 3-run homer, had Pierce and Joseph on board ahead of him. 3-1-0 for the Orioles. That 1 hit, that's it, the home run. 2-4-0 for the Rays.
Yeah, kind of a freaky inning. Curveball hit Pierce's foot. Doesn't really walk too many guys. Caleb had a good at bat, and then the home run.
Back into the seats.
Yeah, you think, and this is how deceptive he is. And Buck Showalter, the first time he saw him, said, boy, I love his angle, throws downhill. That's a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, 2-0, and he almost threw it by Caleb, looking for it.
Joseph will foul it off again. Smiley has had a 3-0 mark, 7 career outings, 4 starts against the Orioles. And in the 7 games he's appeared in, Tampa Bay's won all 7 of the games in which he has pitched either as a starter or reliever against the Orioles. 2-2 delivery on the way. Battling here. Joseph fouls another one off right side. Caleb never dreamed he would be appearing in the number of games that he has appeared in this year. Really sharing the duties behind the plate for the Orioles. Gets that one in the air, not deep. Got a chance to fall in the Bermuda Triangle, and it does. Quick throw back in to hold him to a single. Joseph gets a base hit.
Boy, do they play deep. Now here it is. This is the, at least to this point, the definitive shot for the Orioles. 3-run. First run of September. For J.J. Hardy, and he hit it.
You're talking about the outfield, Jim. I can't believe how deep they play here. I mean, I understand, outfielders, some prefer that to come in on balls, but they are so deep.
Well, you have the grass, the new turf in Toronto where you get the bounce effect. This is not one of those. I mean, this plays pretty, almost like grass. You can get the funny hops. We've seen that, but you know, the ball's in the gap. They're not like playing in the Astrodome or even in Kansas City before they put in the real grass. It's pretty fair in the outfield, but they do play. Well, maybe that's part of their philosophy. You talk always about the Orioles seem to bunch their outfielders. Here they just make sure, and it's not Kiermaier tonight, who's a terrific center fielder. It's Matuk, the rookie, but they are out there. Get it over his head, it's going out of here.
Yeah. J.J. Hardy did just that to left. His first time up. 0-2 count on him, runner off first base. Hardy in the air to center. Matuk will come on and put it away. No runs, one hit, no errors, and one left on. Orioles up by 1.
Hi, this is Kevin Gott.
Could become the first team to clinch. They can do it tomorrow. They lost to the Cubs today. Toronto Blue Jays, their magic number in the East is now at 14. They're playing the Red Sox. Their elimination number is 3, and the Blue Jays have got an early lead in that ball game. And the Indians have lost 3 out of 5. Their chance of making the playoffs, well, it's 12.8 according to Baseball Prospectus. They are one of the teams ahead of the Orioles for a wild card spot. You're in St. Petersburg. Lovely night outside. Beautiful day today. Here's James Loney. Tyler Wilson's pitch to him away for a wall. He drew a walk his first time.
Yeah, he will not throw him a strike. Obviously impressed by the 3 for 4 last night. A couple of singles and a double down in the left field corner.
Shift on in the Orioles infield against him.
Oh, good changeup. Hadn't thrown a whole lot of those, but that's a good one.
Loney is a red hot bat. He's had consecutive 3-hit games. He's hitting .500 over the last 6, 10 for 20 coming into this one. 1-1 delivery on the way, and he takes that one to center field. Adam Jones a couple of steps back. He's got it. 1 down, 4th inning. Orioles are going to close out the regular season Fan Appreciation Weekend, starting with the Yankees Friday, October 2. Weekend activities and fireworks from Johns Hopkins Medical Center on Friday. Orioles knit bomber hats. First 20,000 fans 15 and over Saturday. Steers Steve Pierce Fans Choice bobblehead presented by AT&T. 25,000 first 25, 15 and over on Sunday. All coming up. Final weekend. Here's JP Arencibia. He's got a rocket base hit to center. 1 on, 1 out.
As I mentioned, try to make the Orioles again. Of course, coming off a year where he always hits home runs, up and down in Texas last year, and then in the minors. They are actually very pleased with the way he's caught. Talked to the assistant hitting coach, Jamie Nelson's a former catcher. He said, I heard a lot of stuff. We have not seen that. And then you get a guy that's coming in hitting over 350 with power. Kind of like that.
Yep. Here is Nick Franklin, flied out to left field his first time up. Hit number 5. Orioles being out hit 5-2 in the ball game and have the lead by a 3-2 margin. That pretty much has been the story of this series this year for these two teams. If you look at the statistics, Tampa Bay wins. If you look at the one-loss record, Orioles have won 7 out of the 9. There's one. Relay to first. They got it. So a big double play, and that will do it. And no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. 3-2 O's lead. Astros history will remember the Rangers' 4-game sweep as the pivot of the season. No matter what the players say, the swing from 1.5 up to 2.5 down is too impactful. It burns through cliched blinders. And for the San Francisco Giants, world champions, not going to go again. The defending champs remain 7.5 behind the Dodgers. In the West, 18 to go. Giants, Hunter Pence, like Joe Panik, possibly be shut down for the remainder of the season from the San Francisco Examiner.
Well, they can't win every year, so if they don't get to the World Series and they don't win, they'll have only won 3 of the last 6
Disgusting.
World Series.
Clearly.
Horrible.
Here's Dario Alvarez as the Orioles bat with a 1-run lead.
And so obviously a huge game tonight with the Rangers and the Astros. I mean, that's a 2-game swing. If they win, you only lose 2 games. And all of a sudden, if they lose tonight, they bring everybody else and themselves into the wild card chase instead of being able to win the division.
That's the real scary point right now for Houston. Do they even make the playoffs? 1-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be grounded 2 short. Alvarez is retired. Not receiving Masson mobile alerts. Just text the Orioles 29292 for in-game alerts and chances to win exclusive prizes, including meet and greets with your favorite players and autographed memorabilia. That's Orioles to 29292. And with glove. Here's Nolan Reimold, top of the order. 0 for 2 is flied out, struck out, robbed of a extra base hit by Grady Sizemore. His last time up, Sizemore went back to the wall and hauled one in. Smiley's pitch down to third, foul. Gomes in the bullpen.
Yeah, he's been red hot for him. We thought, boy, that 8th inning when you thought you would have seen him last night. Kevin Cash went with Colomé.
Ball fouled away.
And the Orioles came back from a 3-run deficit with a 4-run 8th. Oh, pitch count, what, at 92? And coming off labrum tear, I would think that you'll kind of close watch on Drew Smiley.
And swinging a foul ball, just got it back.
Yeah, no reason to go overboard because you just want him healthy for 2016. It appears that he's back to pretty much where he was.
Reimold, 0-2. And he'll reach one hopper. Franklin, nice play. Ball had some spin on it and records the out. 2 down. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for the O's, brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit them in store or online at mile1.com. 2 more against the Rays, and then Washington for the final interleague games for the Orioles in D.C. These Oriole fans enjoying it here in St. Petersburg. 2 down, nobody on. Stepped out on that pitch, and it's a strike. Manny Machado. Don't know if he asked for a timeout, but he backed off on the delivery and wasn't even in the batter's box when it was called a strike. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the way, and that'll be outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Gary, it still appears that maybe one of the great stories of baseball is the Mets and the transformation that team has gone through over the course of this year.
Yeah, they are amazing. They're on their way to a division title. They're 8 ahead of the Nationals.
You know, we always knew Cespedes could hit, but what, he hit 8 home runs in his last 21 games for the Tigers. Then they trade him, and he hit 17 more in 43 games for the Mets.
Towering fly ball to center. It's hit a long way. Just shy of 400 feet. Called in a 1-2-3 inning for Smiley. Pitcher's duel continues on. Orioles up.
It's July 29th. Last home run for J.J. Hardy, but not tonight. 3-run home run. Orioles up 3-0. Nice play by Sizemore. In fact, a great play as Reimold makes a bid for a double. Beckham with a double. And then here, look at this defense. 3-2. Matuk at third. Great play by Chris Davis. Nice throw. Nice tag by J.J. Hardy. Get out of the inning. And again, gives them the angle, tags them out. Those are our Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Bottom half of the 5th inning. And a check swing that he went around on. Beckham at shortstop. Home run, 2nd inning, his 9th of the year. Good for 2 RBIs. And he does have the power you see there with those 9 home runs in the limited number of at-bats that he's had.
Yeah, former #1 draft choice by the Rays, and worked his way through the minor leagues. A lot of errors at shortstop early on. Thought about maybe moving him to second base, and then the knee ligament tear last year. Said the knee is a work in progress because once you tear a ligament, you really got to work on your legs.
Wilson with the 1-1 delivery. At third, a very big hop. Machado guns it over for the out. One away, fifth inning. Well, your favorite Orioles are back with their favorite dogs and cats. It's the 16 Orioles Pet Calendar. Proceeds from the 16-month calendar benefit Barks, Baltimore Animal Rescue and Care Shelter. Calendars are now available Oriole Park or at the Orioles official team store in York, PA, or you can order yours at Orioles.com/pet calendar. Did you get yours?
How's your
How's yours?
How's your rescue puppy?
Very good. I'm keeping it away from you, but other than that, it's going really well. Here's Jaso, takes a pitch for a strike.
That's a good idea, actually. Does the puppy tweet yet?
Does the puppy tweet? No, not old enough yet. Not old enough to.
Probably does other things, though.
Yes, occasionally, in unusual places. Here's the 0-1 delivery. I know your love of dogs transcends all that, however.
No, that's right.
I'll certainly bring the little puppy over to visit you, and you can visit and have fun together.
Like I said, I want to rent it. Not for long.
Not for long.
By the hour.
Okay, good. 1-1 delivery on the way, and Jaso's got a base hit again where nobody was.
Well, part of that is obviously you try to stay inside the ball, but Kyler Wilson makes a nice place to Sizemore. He pings one in the left, and Jaso says, yeah, I can hit home runs, and I can go the other way when you play me to pull. So he's pleased about it. The amazing thing, and it tells you how hard it is to hit in this ballpark, and he's not even playing against the Rays, is he's about 110 points higher on the road. Like 222 here. He did hit the home run. That average will go up, and then 1 for 3. 333 on the road.
So the potential tying run is on here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Matuk has singled and doubled already, getting the start in center field after not playing in the ball game last night. And he rips that one to center. Jones going back, way back on his horse, is not going to get it. It is up and off the top of the fence. Turning at third, Jaso will be held. Boy, he got a hold of that one, and Matuk is now 3 for 3, 2 doubles and a single.
So now 10 of his 19 hits are for extra base hits. But he really, Gary, he just kind of short strokes it. They talked about and here's Jaso, not a lot of speed, might have thought the ball was going to get caught. But again, when you talk about 5 tools, one of them is power. And he hit that ball about 402 feet on the fly, just short of the 404 mark.
So for the Rays, here's another chance to get the ball game tied up or better. Runners at second and third, only one away. The infield will stay back. The Rays are 0 for 3. Runners in scoring position so far, and is Longoria. He will take the pitch outside for a ball. He is flied out, grounded out. 0 for 6 in the 2 games so far. Here's where he's done damage. As we mentioned before, low average against the Orioles this year, but 9 batted in.
Yeah, he doesn't, fly ball. What he's going to try to do, drive it somewhere, and tough situation.
2-0.
Yeah, you look on deck, Grady Sizemore is waiting. I think they're going to walk him.
The intentional pass will be surrendered here, even though he's won for his last 23. Which has probably surprised Longoria more than anyone else in the ballpark. But it gives you a chance for a double play.
Well, it does. I've never been a fan of this, but
look at Longoria talking to Wieters like, does he know what I'm doing at the plate lately?
I'm just not a fan of putting that many more runners on base in the middle innings.
So they are loaded with 1 out.
If he gets a base hit, you'll be down 4 to 3. Now all of a sudden, with only 1 out, I'm not sure that you can automatically say that Sizemore's a double play candidate. If it was a right-handed hitter with maybe Arecibo, I could see this. The other factor is, Gary, and for a young pitcher, there is no place to put him.
So you test your mettle here as Wilson will work to Sizemore. He's got a base hit and is hit into a fielder's choice. He's had 1 chance with the bases loaded this year. It's 0 for 1. Base hit came in the first inning. There are the 3 on via the single Jaso, double Matuk, and the intentional pass Longoria.
Yeah, so a more conventional defense now, not the shift. as they play for the double play.
Pitch on the way to him, and that ball in the air to the gap, and it's going to fall. Adam Johns will have to give chase. It'll drive in Jaso. Matuck right behind him. Longoria will stop. He'll score. Cleared him.
That's why you don't put him on. You just never know what your pitcher's going to do. I don't care if it's a rookie or a veteran. I just don't enjoy that. And again, your point well taken that Longoria might have gotten a run in, but he was not hitting well. So one swing, and it's all of a sudden you get an extra run. Nice at bat, good pitch to hit, smokes it up the gap, and they're off on a gallop.
And he knew it. Knew that one right as it came off the bat. So a big hit for Sizemore, a double. He gets 3 RBIs, and he gives the Rays a 5-3 lead in the ball game. 20 RBIs on the season, and that's going to be it. Tyler Wilson, who is going for his 3rd win, will come out of the ball game. And Chaz Rowe, who's been warming up in the bullpen, looks like Buck wants to give him a little more time. He's going to wait for the umpire to come out, as Rowe needs a couple more tosses in the pen. So after 1 out, Jaso the single, double, Matuck the intentional pass given to Evan Longoria. That was the 6th intentional pass he has had this year. There's the umpire, there's the sign, and there goes Tyler Wilson. When we come back, runner on at second base with 1 out.
On their roll, you can see maybe not as much fastballs, a few more breaking balls, change up. When he threw it, it was good. But a couple of balls in the middle of the plate, one to Beckham, one to Grady Sizemore, and that's how you get the 5 runs. Now time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube. Drive in today. Chaz Rowe on the fastball slider. He's been pitching well, but again, very frequently.
Souza's up, runner at second base, and 1 down. Souza will take a breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, so there are the numbers. Again, the bursitis had to go on the disabled list for 20 days. Early numbers a lot better than lately. It just seemed like he lost a little bit of the the movement on the fastball and the sharpness of the slider. He's done a nice job for the Orioles this year.
Souza 0 for 2, couple of fly balls to right field. And we'll take that pitch for a strike. For Chaz Rowe, in the 7 innings worked in 5 games against Tampa Bay, he has not given up a run, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts against the Rays this season. Got a runner at second, 1 away. Scope holding the runner close. Rays up 5-3. And the breaking ball will be outside. Souza to be followed by Loney. Sizemore, the bases loaded double, his second hit of the ball game, has given him a lead and driven Tyler Wilson out of the game. Still responsible for Sizemore. 1-2 count. Rose delivery to him. That'll be outside.
Yeah, the amazing thing is that Steven Souza Jr. can strike out a lot, but he can also be very, very disciplined at the plate. We saw that last night with the 3 walks. So you think he's just one of these big, strong guys. You run the ball in on him and then throw him sliders away. It's pretty much got to be a strike. It's got to be a quality pitch.
2-2 the count here. And he won't go after any of them. So after getting ahead 2 strikes, it's 3-2.
Yeah, the word was when he came over to Tampa, they asked him, well, what did you do to hit 350 and have that monster year? And he said, well, I let the ball travel and I used the whole field. He really hasn't done a good job. Maybe trying to do a little more than he should, but get the ball a long, long way when he gets a hold of it.
Full count delivery on the way to him, and he will fight that one off. Souza keeps the at-bat alive. 3 ball, 2 strike count. The Rays striking for 2 in the second on the home run by Beckham. 3 in the 5th so far on the double by Sizemore. Rays getting their first hit with a runner in scoring position. What a time to get it. The bases loaded. A double. 3-2 delivery outside, and he walked him. So Rowe had him and lost him. 0-2 count goes as a free pass. First and second, 2 away. That will bring the ever dangerous Loney up. Loney has walked and flied out to center field. So Loney stands in with a chance to do more damage and make this an even bigger inning. Loney is 0 for 2 off Chaz Rowe.
And other than John Jaso, the best average with runners in scoring position, because he doesn't have to change it. I mean, he's a line drive hitter, occasional power, very occasional. See those numbers right there against righties. So he's comfortable lefties, righties.
He's got a 308 average against the Orioles this year with a home run and 4 runs batted in. And Loney will take the pitch. It'll be at the knees for a strike. So Rowe, runners at first and second. Would love to get that ground ball, finish off the inning. Loney, the 1-1. And boy, he had no chance on that one. A big paddle wouldn't have caught that. A good pitch by Rowe.
Well, that's what Chaz could do when he's healthy. For a guy that that throws a lot of sliders, a lot of sinkers. There's 2 pitches. He just has such good movement on it. And look how tight that spin is. And the tighter the spin, the harder to track it.
Ball really dove. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Loney. Runners off first and second. And that ball down the line is a fair ball. It'll go into the corner. Sizemore will score. Souza's being raised home. The run to second, runner to second base. Another double. 2 RBIs. 7-3.
Well, 319 just went up with runners in scoring position. Yeah, make them look bad on one slider, and the other one, the next one is not as good. So right here, see, it starts away, comes to the middle of the plate. No, not what you want to do. Of course, it's the kind of pitch that Loney wanted to see, and he drives it into the corner for a 2 RBI double.
So a big inning for the Rays as they now lead at 7-3. Loney clocking that one down the line directly into the corner. 32 RBIs, 16 doubles. Here's Aaron Sevilla, the 8th Ray to hit here in the 5th inning. And he will take the pitch for a strike. So 6 runs will be charged to Tyler Wilson. 6 runs, 8 hits, and 4 1/3 innings. That 7th run, Souza, he drew the walk. It goes to Rowe. Aaron Sebia waiting down to third. Manny Machado stops it. Runner stays and will get the out. So the 2 outs that have been recording it in the inning have been ground balls to Manny.
That's not a bad idea.
Trouble is, between those two, there were 6 hitters who all got on base. So 2 down with a runner at second, and that'll bring Nick Franklin up, the 9th Ray to hit. Franklin has hit into a double play and flied out. Hardy will hold the runner at second, and the pitch will be a strike on the inside corner. Now Chaz Rowe greeted with a couple of runs in against him out of the bullpen for the Orioles.
Well, this bullpen is getting overused because the starters aren't pitching as well as they would like or up to their capabilities. Simple as that. And it's, you got a lot of guys down there, but I think Buck is trying to, and he's very good at handling bullpen, trying to put the guys in where you can win. But when you get overused, velocity, the movement, just not as much. I think we saw that with Colomé last night. Pitched 4 out of 5 games. And left him in for 33 pitches.
And that one is going to miss outside. Tampa Bay hopes to have a little more help out of that bullpen for the ball game tonight, but they wouldn't say whether Xavier Cedeno is available. Had a left oblique problem and had not been available for a few games. 2 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and that too is going to miss. A couple of pitches, same location, and the count goes 3-1 on Frank.
And I think what we saw with Colomé, who's throws a little bit harder and also a slider type pitcher, fastball slider, is that when your arm gets tired, it's harder to get out in front. It's hard to get on top of your pitches. It's hard to stay behind them.
3-1 is foul.
You just don't have that little extra. You don't have the ability to maybe make the pitches you would like.
So Nick Franklin, full count, 3-2, runner on at second base. Franklin, a Florida native. He was born in Sanford, Florida. If you ever come in the Amtrak train, that's where you get off. And he now lives in Orlando. Three-two pitch on the way, and that'll be foul back.
Yeah, this is an amazing game in the sense that Nick Franklin was probably going to be their second baseman. The 2 came in along with Smiley in that David Price trade, and then he tore the oblique muscle in spring training. Logan Forsythe really only had Cabrera and him, and Forsythe's had a career year. And now Nick is back most of the year down at AAA.
Chaz Rowe look back to second. Loney. 3-2 delivery. And it'll be put up in the air. Shallow right center. Everybody's looking. Who's going to catch it? Oh, nobody. Throw to second. Not in time, and a run will score. Loney taking off with 2 down, and another double. This one into the triangle. Everybody looked at each other, but nobody caught the baseball.
Well, one of the outfielders has to catch it, but I don't know if, right there, because one of the few times this year, Adam Jones does either not see it or get a good jump. Alvarez kind of defers to him, and then all of a sudden, Jonathan Scope, who's got to run backwards, try to pick the ball up when he thinks one of his outfielders is going to catch it. And that's how you get the 8th run.
So an RBI for Franklin on the double. That'll bring Dave Wallace out to the mound, as Rowe has come on and given up a walk, a double, got a ground ball out, and now another double. And we are back to Beckham, the number 9 hitter, who led the inning off, grounding out. A big 6-run 5th inning so far. McFarland trying to hustle it up, getting ready in the bullpen. Sizemore 3 RBIs, 2 for Loney, now 1 for Franklin. All of the RBIs have come on doubles here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, the Rays, they score almost, and that number's gone up, 5 runs a game for Drew Smiley. Now they only score 3.8. That's their average on the year. So he gives up the 3-run home run. He settles down, and now all of a sudden they come to the rescue. thundering to the rescue.
Yep. And here is Beckham. Still 2 away. And the pitch will be taken inside for a ball. Another runner on at second base. Beckham a 1 for 3 last night, 1 for 2 so far in this one with that home run he picked up. One-0 delivery on the way. Bender up high. Asdrubal Cabrera has got that knee strain. May be back this weekend against the Orioles. No definitive on that. He is better. Beckham doing it while he's out. Some nice defensive plays and that big home run. 2-0 delivery on the way to him. Beckham down to third base. How about that? Manny Machado will get the assists. All the outs came 5-3, but they were a long way apart. Our Mazda do-ups. It'll be Davis, Jones, and Scope. Tampa Bay's on top. College and our moment in history. 2007, it was Mike Mussina's chance to become, and he did, the first American League pitcher to win 10-plus games in 16 seasons, and only the 7th overall, the others all National Leaguers. And in 2008, Greg Maddux broke Cy Young's Major League record, his 13th win for the 20th consecutive season. Would go on, of course, to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 355 wins. 625 wins between the two of those guys. Mike Mussina with 270.
So the Orioles down. Chris Davis up, and the pitch is in there for his strike. Davis, a walk and a strikeout. All those other pitchers that Mussina joined, having those consecutive seasons of 10 or more wins, were National Leaguers. You can give the first name. I'll give the last people out there. Carlton, Spahn, Ryan, Sutton, Young, Maddux. All National Leaguers until along came Mussina. Chris Davis waiting on it. And the pitch by Smiley will bounce. 2-2 strike count. Chris with a walk, strikeout, 0 for 4. In the first 2 games of this series.
Yeah, Romero, the hard-thrown lefty. Brandon Jones, as we mentioned, he's been pitching well, so he's not going to take any chances.
Count goes 3-2.
98 pitches for Drew Smiley.
Lifted, third base side. Closest to it, Arancibia. Oh, that would have been a really fine play. That is as long a run as you'll ever see a catcher make to try and catch a pop-up.
Yeah, and Longoria came. I mean, he could have gotten there, but he comes into the scene late. I would imagine for JP the last 10 feet felt like it was going downhill or maybe uphill. That's a long run, and of course trying to see, you can't take your eyes off the ball. You don't know where the fence is. Gives you an idea of how much foul territory there is. Not Oakland, but close to it. I mean, relatively compared to the other fields.
There's another effect of the shift and how it changes defensive plays. I mean, that's just a long way for Longoria. So Aaron Sebia, the regular defense, would never even have to about thinking going over there. That is in there for a strike. Davis thought he had ball 4. So Chris out of there, 6 Ks.
So Lillian just filtered a little breaking ball. Here to half the edge of the plate. Chris didn't think so. Yeah, right on the corner. Perfect pitch. I mean, if you drew it up and you say, okay, I'm going to go 3-2. I'm going to have a 5-run lead. I'm going to throw a breaking ball, not challenge him, but I get to place it where I want. That was where it would have been.
He struck out 10 Orioles in the game he pitched against the O's this year, which is his season high. He gave up no runs, 4 hits, 7 innings in that ball game against the Orioles. And now he has picked up 6 strikeouts in this game. 8-3 lead for the Rays, 6th inning. Adam Jones, the chopper. Longoria will cut it off and get it. Help Maryland Governor Larry Hogan and the Orioles in their fight against pediatric cancer and save 50% on tickets to the upcoming series against the Jays. Go to Orioles.com/charity. Help raise funds for the fight against leukemia and lymphoma societies and the Ronald McDonald House Charities. So you can do that right now and you get the reduction off the ticket prices. That's Orioles.com/charity. Another one that's hit off the plate also hit him in the box. Scope. He has flied out, struck out. 8 runs, 10 hits for the Rays. 3 runs, just 2 hits for the Orioles. 3-run homer by Hardy. And the single picked up by Caleb Joseph. There's the 3rd one. A 2-out single by Scope, and he's got an 11-game hit streak. Bullpen is ready if they want to go there.
Well, JP Sebia went over just in case there was a throw. Maybe he had to back up, and he's kind of looking in at Kevin Gash going, are you going to come get him or not? You know? Whereas, of course, you're hoping that maybe Steve Pearce will get a pitch to hit, and he hits home runs. That's what he can do and get back in this game.
Pitch will be taken down low for a ball. These are the most pitches thrown by Smiley in a game this year. Twice he reached 100, one of those against the Orioles. Pierce, that one bounces, and there's not much question. Smiley's on empty.
Well, the other thing is you got Gomes, who's given up 2 runs in his last, 16 appearances since August. So you have a guy that matches up well against Pierce because he's pitched well and he's a right-handed pitcher. And I'm not saying that Drew Smiley, with his ability to pitch, not throw, can't get out of this. It's not the norm you see in the modern day of baseball. In the old days, that wouldn't even have anybody up. They'd go, okay, here's your 5-run lead, go get them. You got another 20, 30, 40 pitches to go, and good luck.
They're just standing around watching down there in the bullpen now. 2-0 count on the way. Pierce, long, down the line, near the fair pole. And goodbye home run. He did it. He got it down the line. 1 too many. Smiley was left in for, and the Orioles get right back in the ball game.
Well, the other thing is, it's not like Steve Pierce doesn't hit home runs against the Rays. I mean, that's what he did at the opening series. This is what he lives for. Pitches that he can get on the inside half. He gets behind them, and all of a sudden you're back in the game.
Well, the Orioles will certainly take it. And for Steve Pierce, yet another long ball, and the Orioles pick up some vital runs before Smiley leaves. That'll be his 12th home run, RBIs 32 and 33. And that was right down the line in left field, and you see how close to that fair pole it went. Orioles back in it, 8-5.
And there is Drew Smiley. That gives up a 2-run home run, 3-run home run. Pitches well. They leave him in arguably too long. Orioles take advantage of it. And on comes Brandon Gomes.
Gomes working, 2 down, bases empty, and Caleb Joseph.
So there you go. Fastballs. You just saw the slider, change up. 40-man roster guy, but not. Or actually, wasn't on the 40-man roster. Invited to spring training as a non-roster invitee. And there's another breaking ball. No, he's been up and down the last couple of years, and it seems like finally. And look at the numbers. Lefty's hitting 194, righties at 266. And as we mentioned, a couple of runs since August 1st. A long stretch over 16 appearances.
31-year-old right-hander. Joseph with a shift on will take the pitch away for a ball. Gomes worked 3 days ago against the Yankees and recorded his first career save in his 165th appearance.
Oh, he's the graybeard of this staff, the only pitcher over 30, 31 years old, 65 days.
And is in there for a strike, so he comes on to get the out, but the Orioles get right back in it. They pick up a couple of runs, 2 hits, no errors, nobody left on. Steve Pearce delivers the long ball, the third that he has hit against the Rays this year. 8-5. The Maryland Fire Chiefs and Maryland State Firemen's Associations. Email mdfirevolunteer@gmail.com to volunteer with your local fire rescue and EMS. Home of the Rays, St. Petersburg. The Orioles making a game of it here. 8-5 on the home run by Pierce in the 6th inning, and the Orioles go deeper to the pen.
So the 26th appearance for T.J. McFarland, last pitched on Wednesday night against the Red Sox. Came in a game the Orioles lost 10-2, gave up a run on a couple of hits. So the number against the righties coming down. He's handled lefties well. And working on his areas, the fastball, slider, changeup. He was working yesterday down in the bullpen, even though he pitched the night before. Even though the Orioles get in around 3 o'clock. The morning, really, yesterday morning, Thursday morning, coming here into Tampa, just working on trying to work on the sinker. Again, a young pitcher, only 26.
Richie Schaefer is going to be the pinch hitter for Jaso at the top of the order. Schaefer will bat against the left-hander as we go to the 6th. Jaso had a single run scored, and that one will be fouled away. For McFarland against the Rays, only 1 game, 2 innings, 2 runs on 2 hits this year against them. Lifetime, he's been touched up 9 runs, 21 hits, and 19 innings against the Rays.
And Schaefer's one of those home run guys. These 3 here, all solos, and then 26 in the minor leagues. Big swing.
So Schaefer leads it off in the leadoff spot. He's followed by Matuk and Longoria.
They come down. You get young players get a chance to play. You get a chance to see them. We saw Maley, the catcher, Luke Maley, last night. Seemed to took tonight.
And that'll be taken down low. Now we got to look at Schaefer. The Tampa Bay, they're looking to next year. They're running through their players, giving everybody a look-see here in the final month of guys they obviously are interested in. 1-2 count. Schaefer will take the pitch outside, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, you know they're small market team. They're looking for offense. 3.8 runs a game. Second best pitching in the American League. So how do you improve yourself? They're going to get maybe they'll get Alex Cobb back middle of the year, maybe earlier than that.
2-2 to Schaefer's down low. So a 3-ball 2-strike count on the leadoff batter here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 29 home runs combined for Schaefer between the minors and the majors this year. Second stint with the big ball club on the season. And the 3-2 delivery to him will be fouled off. And the at-bat stays alive for it. This one looked like it was going to be a pitcher's duel, and the offense has got involved. And we got 13 runs on 14 hits combined now. 3-ball 2-strike count. Usually that's not a good sign for the Rays, who win the tight ball games. 3-2 delivery on the way, and another one that'll be fouled straight back. Talked about the Rays and tight ball games this season more than any other team in the majors involved in these 1- and 2-run games. 83 games decided by 1 or 2 runs, the most in the majors. And they are 40 and 43 in those ball games.
Another #1 draft choice, 2012.
3-ball 2-strike delivery again. Schaefer's on with a leadoff walk. Orioles have surrendered 4 walks in the ball game, 1 intentional. The most popular way to follow the action of the Orioles is with MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, and more. Get the MLB.com at bat app now. Buck Showalter up, arms crossed. Signal, I didn't like that. A leadoff walk here in the 6th inning. Tooks had the big night. 2 doubles, a single, a run scored, thrown out at the plate earlier in the ball game, and he tried to score on a ground ball to Chris Davis at first. He's been active. Michael Gibbons.
Familiar names over the last couple of weeks. Again, starters not going as long as they want. Yeah, the way TJ McFarland was working on trying to get the ball to sink, longer stride, and it's always difficult to make those kind of adjustments. Maybe a little easier if you're a starter. But again, you work on something on Thursday, you're on the mound on Friday, and it doesn't appear that he has a good rhythm.
Not a big lead at first base for Schaefer. And took at the plate waiting, and the pitch will be up high, and he's struggling with a strike zone, 2-0. Tampa Bay trying to get those runs right back. 5th inning, 6 runs, 5 hits for them. The Orioles come back on the Pierce home run in the top of the 6th inning. McFarland, a 2-0. That ball is going to be a base hit into center field. Jones up with it, stops the runner Schaefer at second base. 2 on, nobody out. 4 for 4 for Matuk.
Oh, he's getting a lot of good pitches to hit tonight, and he has not missed any of them. Yeah, he's hit one off his ankle. He got jammed, but in the middle of the plate, looked like a Delman Young swing, almost like playing tennis, and hit the top spin ball back up the middle. It just stayed to the racket, and here comes Buck Showalter.
So that will be it.
Yeah, if the sinker's not sinking for TJ McFarland, Buck's seen enough.
No part of an inning. Gives up a hit and a walk. He'll be responsible. Gibbons on.
Yeah, try to load him up to get a maybe at least a possible double play. First pitch, Grady Sizemore rocket up the gap. Here comes Longoria to make it third run. He's like Bo Jackson going to run right into the dugout. Well, again, they score 3. On comes Michael Givens, who has pitched very well and often for the Orioles. Good fastball, sweeping breaking ball. Fastball anywhere 93, 95. And again, doesn't walk a whole lot of people. Strikes out more than innings pitched. Right out of Double-A, where he dominated this year at 4-2 with a 1.73 ERA.
Last outing against Boston, inning in 2/3, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Runners on at first and second base. Evan Longoria. He drew the intentional pass in the 5th inning that backfired when Sizemore got that hit you just saw to drive him and 2 others in. Longoria will take the pitch outside, 2-0. The walk to Schaefer. He's on at second. Matuk picked up the base hit. He's on at first. It's 11 hits for the Rays. They're out hitting the Orioles 11-4. Longoria to first. Davis has it. Should be 2. There's 1. Hardy. Givens covers, and they get the double play.
Yeah, nice pitch. Again, Longoria actually has a pretty good approach. 2-0. Gets a fastball away. Hits it sharply, but then Chris Davis able to corral it. Check this out right here. And then you got a former position player now pitching. Michael Givens easily over there. Practice it all spring. Nice accurate throw by J.J. Hardy. 1 pitch, 2 outs.
Big double play ball. Runner goes over to third base, Schaefer, but there are 2 down. That'll bring Sizemore up. That big hit you saw in the 5th inning. He's 2 for 3, 3 RBIs. Runner at third and 2 down. Grady Sizemore looking for a 2-out RBI. Givens' pitch will be down the line in 5.
I talked about it the other night. Dave Wallace, Dom Cheedy, the bullpen coach, saying, okay, when you come in, you got to have the intensity. If you're going to throw your fastballs, you can throw. Don't overthrow them, but just show them your best stuff. He's done a nice job of that.
For Givens, third outing against the Rays, a run on 4 hits, 2 1/3. Previously worked against Tampa Bay this year. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Sizemore. Rays now 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. 1-1 delivery, and that one fouled off at the plate. Just tipped that one down by Sizemore. 1-2.
Yeah, we were talking down on the bench today early, and he was out early with some of the other pitchers, and he actually went to high school in Tampa, the same high school as Wade Boggs. Said Wade used to come over, talk to all the players and all that, local boy. Then ended up at Cooperstown.
1-2 outside, heater. Second of 4 games. The Orioles have the season edge, 9-7. Two balls, 2 strikes. And another foul tip.
Yeah, there's the changeup. Doesn't throw it often, but it was a good one.
Joseph getting his hand out of the way.
Yeah, kind of a good time if you're ever going to play the Rays. McGee's got a knee problem. Dominant left-hander. Cabrera, as you mentioned, Gary, with the strained ligament in his knee day to day. But only if you pitch well.
Schaefer, the runner at third base. 2-2 delivery. And a swing and a miss. So Givens comes on and gets it done. Only the 2nd strikeout the Oriole pitchers have in the game. 8-5 Rays. U.S. Air Force, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. And by DynCorp International, we serve today for a better tomorrow. And we air this ball game on MASN, celebrating the U.S. Air Force birthday, thanking all of our armed forces for their dedication in protecting the safety and security of our country. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer with you. Interesting ball game. Round and round we go. Brandon Gomes came on, got a strikeout to end the 6th inning. He will stay on here as we go to the 7th. Gomes will be facing Hardy, Alvarez, then the top of the order, Nolan Reimold. Shift on in the infield, and the pitch in for a strike. Hardy, big home run coming in the 2nd inning, was the Orioles' first hit. Pierce had been hit by a pitch, and Joseph had drawn a walk ahead of him. Ground ball to short. That's the shift. Second baseman, Franklin. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to the March of Dimes. 369 walks, $18,450. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Alvarez has grounded out twice. Romero's up for the 2nd time in the bullpen. Gomes will get the pitch in there for a strike. Eight, 11-0. The Rays 5-4-0 for the O's. 5 left on by Tampa Bay, 2 by Baltimore. And the pitch outside, leaning Alvarez, almost falling over.
Yeah, lunging on that sweeping slider. Yeah, Gomes came out of the Padres organization, and if you're a baseball fan, they had a pretty good shortstop here, Jason Bartlett. He went to the Padres, and Gomes came this way.
Alvarez couldn't hold up on that one.
Well, he's got the ball going in 2 different directions. He's able to sink the ball, so that's going to a righty go left to right. 2-seam fastball, and then the sweeper that probably looks like it's breaking a couple of feet.
1 ball, 2-strike delivery on the way. Alvarez again. So strikeout for Gomes. 2 quick outs here in the 7th inning.
Well, here is the slider, and again, it's a good one. The Nissan pitch rack will show you it just starts on the plate, finishes off the plate, so it's a strike to ball. And this is why Gomes is and has been one of the best relievers since the beginning of August.
2 down, nobody on. Here is Nolan Reimold. Reimold will take it away for a ball. Reimold 0 for 3 in the ball game, 1 for 6 so far in the series. DHing in this game. 1-0 pitch on the way. Ground ball towards 3rd. Longoria's got to back up. Knows he's got a quick runner. Wow. Now that's what you do at this level. You find the target without looking. 7th inning stretch time. It's an 8-5 Rays lead. Let's settle back in. 8-5 ball game. The Rays on top as they battle back here with their 6-run, 5-hit 5th inning. Michael Givens remains on, bottom of the 7th inning. Souza will lead it off and will take the pitch for a strike. Steven Souza Jr., a walk in the 5th inning, scored on the Loney 2 RBI double. 3 RBIs, Sizemore in the game, 2 for Loney, 1 for Franklin. A big cut. The Orioles getting the 3-run homer from Hardy, the 2-run homer from Pierce. As usual, it's the long ball. The Orioles somewhere around 48% of their runs being scored off home runs on the year. And he will take the pitch away. He was ready to go to the dugout.
Oh, yeah.
Being struck out, but no.
I thought one of the first pitches, and the thing about Sean Barber, he probably is maybe favored the hitters a little bit. I think he missed the first one, and then, God forbid, might have evened it up. Imagine that.
1-2 delivery, tapped, foul.
It's hard to believe that Steven Souza Jr. has struck out 131 times because he keeps fouling off great pitches. And if you don't throw him strikes, he walks.
1-2. Fan shouting, hit the ball, Souza. Oh, mercy. Put that one in for replays 4, 5, and 6. Oh.
Now there you go, former position player, an infielder. Already saw his agility and heads up, being over at first base on the double play. I'll tell you what, this is not to the glove side, folks. That is to his backhand. So not only do you have to catch it, it's easy if the ball's hit to your left because that's where your glove is. That was to the other side.
What a catch made by Michael Givens. Here's Loney stepping out, fouling it away. Loney a double, 2 RBIs. He's walked, and he has flied out. You can see Givens, the athletic ability on that play. His reflexes are instantaneous, and he saw that. It wasn't one of those where the ball just happened to end up in the glove.
Yeah, it looked like a little backup slider. I always thought the ball's away. You could see better because it's out over the plate and you're really focused. But sometimes you give up on the ones inside, and he inside outed it, and he still made the play look easy.
Loney with 1 down, 1 ball, 1 strike count. Grounded the other way again. He's trying to put that ball through that no man's land where nobody's playing over there.
This is, Gary, this is such a game of numbers, as you know. But at the end of the day, if I ask you, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think he's a good 2-strike hitter or a bad 2-strike hitter?
Loney?
Yeah.
Bad.
Wrong. No, I would think he'd be a good 2-strike hitter only because he made contact and because he hits line drives, and we've seen that the last 2 nights, last couple of years, 299, 290. He hits 268 with 2 strikes, which is an amazingly high number.
Yeah. We had the average 178?
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah, usually from there to about 185, depending on the year. So he's about 70 points higher because he's a contact hitter. He doesn't have to change a whole lot to hit with 2 strikes.
1-2 delivery and got him. For some reason on all Givens pitches, he was really bailing out.
Well, he does turn his back, and then he makes the perfect pitch at 96. It appears to me Michael is getting more and more comfortable pitching at this level. You got to end up doing it. This is just, occasionally been called low, nicely framed by Caleb Joseph.
We'll bring up J.P. Arencibia, a base hit, ground out, fielder's choice. He scored a run. Pitch will be outside for a ball. 1-0 count. We're in the 7th inning. Rays trying to even it up after the 4-3 win by the Orioles, who had the big 8th inning last night. That pitch is going to be in there for a strike. A lot of bullpen action tonight. Andresi and Geltz up. One and one. Big cut, can't catch it.
Well, all the things that I heard about Michael Givens, I talked to one of my neighbors down a Little League in Baltimore, Dean Albany. He said, yeah, I've seen him. He's the real deal. And you're seeing that. Good velocity. Better than good.
And up and got him. So a good quick inning, and Givens has 3 strikeouts of the 5 batters that he faced. Gives the Orioles a shot, down by 3. Blue Jays saying today they're going to play a 2-game exhibition series at Olympic Stadium in Montreal against the Red Sox. They have played a 2-game series in Montreal each of the last 2 seasons, getting ready for a major league team back in Montreal. And how about this? In Atlanta last night, former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind, they were on Kiss Cam, and that is exactly what they did. And then the president and his wife turned to the crowd, standing ovation. Kiss Cam with the Atlanta Braves.
And we certainly wish him the best with his battle with brain cancer. One of the great things about being in the World Series, and especially playing for the Orioles, you're not too far from Washington. Got to meet him back in 1979.
Impressive
nice
human being.
Oh, he really is. He's done so much. I mean, both while he was president and especially afterwards. So Steve Geltz comes on. Boy, I tell you what, he's got a chance to maybe lead the American League in appearances. Done a terrific job. They acquired him from the Angels for Dane De La Rosa, another guy that's done a great job out of their bullpen.
So the Orioles, 6 outs to work with. Manny Machado. Machado's drawn a walk. He has flied out and struck out top of the 8th inning. Machado, Davis, and Jones against Geltz. Gomes worked an inning and a third out of strikeout and fouled back by Machado.
Yeah, Geltz with a nice little breaking ball and changeup to go that 92, 93 mile per hour fastball.
Manny has faced him a couple of times and has gone 0 for 2. And outside. Crowd last night was the 4th smallest of the year, announced at 9,617. Just over that tonight, 10,697. They count 2 each. One, 2 count on Machado.
Well, it always seems like there's more people here because of the noise factor, and then the shirts.
1-2 delivery by Geltz all the way to the backstop. Well, we thought the outfield was playing deep before. What do you think of me now? They've moved back about 3 steps, which is almost impossible. Nothing will go over their heads unless it goes out of the yard.
Well, what do you hit? Do you hit more balls in front of outfielders or over their heads?
In front.
Yes, so.
2-2 delivery and a towering fly ball. Right field. Souza. One down here in the 8th. As we promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. I don't think I've seen that happen before. That's a new one. Catch it?
T-shirt, glove, just in case. We saw the young man in Baltimore sitting out right center. Kind of caught a home run the other day. The man he hit.
You got the ball.
That's all that counts.
That's what matters. Chris Davis 0 for 2 and a walk in the game. He's 0 for 5 in the first two. Gelt's delivery will be taken up high.
Ever go to a Major League game and catch as we look at Oliver Drake, catch a foul ball?
No, I never caught it.
I used to go to the Coliseum when the Dodgers first moved to L.A. Go down and chase balls. During batting practice, hit the Chinese wall down the left field side. It was in the inside, so the field was a very unusual configuration. And Wally Moon would have an inside-out swing, so you'd be jumping over kids trying to catch balls. So I, sitting in the stands, have a drink and a bag of peanuts, and Charlie Neal, their second baseman, hits a pop fly that hits the bag of peanuts, breaks them, goes over my shoulder, and I made somebody happy in the next row.
Didn't get the ball.
No, couldn't.
Foul back. Yeah, Charlie Neal was a heck of a player. He was a really good baseball player.
Well, the Dodgers.
I never caught one. I didn't have a chance to go to many ball games. That wasn't something within the family budget. Okay, let's go. What do you think this is? Pitch will be taken inside and low.
Well, did you ever go to Fenway?
Oh yeah, well that was the only ballpark I ever went to.
But back then,
but I only went. I don't know. I didn't 3-4 times maybe.
Yeah, he didn't have monster seats.
No, we didn't.
No.
You paid the guy in the left field bleachers 50 cents. 3 ball, 2 strike count. And Davis fouls it back, keeps it alive.
Yeah, Geltz has had good breaking stuff, and he's going, I'm not using that tonight. They're looking for it. Maybe they're praying to it, Chris. If you're Chris Davis, you're just looking for the baseball. Well, Jeff Idelson, who's now president of the Hall of Fame, actually sold hot dogs in the bleachers in Fenway.
3-2 delivery on the way and walked him. That's what the Orioles needed. Looking for that potential tying run to come to the plate, down by 3 here. Our PNC minor league report. Go Bowie.
Well, there's one of your high round draft choices, David Hess, who has pitched well. A lot of rave reviews on him. Pretty good arm. Again, last night Redding did a number on Bowie. Tonight Bowie does a number on Redding.
So there's only one left. Championship game, Game 5, best-of-5 series at Bowie tomorrow night. They will decide a champion. Adam Jones fouls it back. Adam has grounded out twice to third. Andy has struck out. Adams 1 for 7 now in the 2 games. Orioles get Davis on at first. They've drawn 4 walks in the game, 3 off Smiley, the starter, who gave up 5 runs, 4 hits, and 5 2/3. He is the pitcher of record, as is Tyler Wilson, 6 runs, 8 hits, 4 1/3 for the Orioles. The ball game far from over. The offenses involved in this one. That's going to go to short. Big chance for 2. There's one relay and a big double play. So that will do it in the inning. Beckham to Franklin, Deloney. Only 3 faced here in the 8th. It remains 8-5. He is not happy. mound against Erasmo Ramirez. Our coverage on Masson 2, 5:30. Note the time, 5:30. Those extra presented by Jeep in our game at 6. All the access you need right here on Masson. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, and again the Orioles to the bullpen.
Yeah, and you again hope that they will be able to do what Michael Givens did, who pitched very well. Oliver Drake, 23 out of 23 at the Norfolk AAA level, is outstanding. So up and down this year. Fastball split guy. So again, you can see righties hitting him better than lefties, and half hit the pitches hit in the air. The ability, if he commands his fastball, to get you to chase the ball out of the zone with that splitter. That's a good one.
Bottom half of the 8th, Drake made his debut back in May in his first of 4 stints with the big club. Nick Franklin will lead it off, double RBI. Is hit into a double play and flied out. 8-5 as the Rays continue to be able to put up numbers offensively against the Orioles in this season series. And the pitch will be taken for a strike.
He had 23 runs in that 3-game series a couple of weeks ago in Baltimore, winning 2 of them. And there's the closer, Boxberger.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery. That'll be up high. Franklin, Beckham, and Schaefer will be due up, top of the order. Schaefer. Two 1 delivery on the way, and that's chopped back. 80-mile-an-hour delivery on that one. 2 ball, 2 strike count from Drake.
Yeah, he said that he can get the. I mean, his splitter actually moves from left to right, so to run away from lefties into right-handers, you can't make it, can't cut it. And again, he said the key is just to stay. I mean, it's a little bit of a Baldo Jimenez wind-up. Really gets back on the right side, and then high front side, and then throws over it. And there's this good
check
splitter.
Swing, fair. Oh, mercy. There is the ultimate, excuse me.
Well, he's got 2 of them tonight. He's got the pop fly double, where Jones and Alvarez couldn't see it or didn't get to it, and Scope couldn't catch it. And then this one, this 3rd base hit they've gotten kind of against the shift, even though this one's pretty accidental, very much like the winning single last night.
Straight as an arrow, and a base hit. So the leadoff man is on here in the 8th inning, and here is Beckham. The home run, his 9th, came in the 2nd. 1 for 3 in the ball game, 2 RBI. And the pitch taken down low. Tim Beckham up, runner on at first base with hit number 12. Short lead at first for Nick Franklin. Beckham goes after it and misses. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
I was watching a game the other day, and they were talking about how a lot of teams cut their infield grass. The ones that don't have a lot of speed, you don't have as much dirt. So the grass will actually, like Camden Yards, it kicks it. The actual distance from the foul line to the grass is less. And it's harder for a ball like that to stay fair.
Good pitch. That one down, almost skimming off the plate. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Andresi now with the closer, Boxberger.
I'm kind of wondering if Andresi, just because he was a starter, is just doing his throwing. Get some work in.
Or if they score another run, it won't be a save situation. And boy, he had him fooled on those pitches. Gets him on a pitch way out of the strike zone, looking out like, wow, what was that?
Well, Tim Beckham made his presence felt with that 2-run shot, got him back into the game after they trailed 3-0, and then Oliver Drake. Very difficult if you're going to chase that splitter, because it's when he gets ahead of you, and it's hard to pick up.
That will bring Schaefer to the plate. 1 at bat. Drew the walk, pinch hitting in the 6th inning. Part of that 6-run, 5-hit inning. Schaefer will take a breaking ball that fooled him, and it is in there for a strike. Richie Schaefer will be followed by Matuk. If they get that far, Drake would like to get out of the inning right here with a ground ball. Double play. Right-hander's delivery to him. That'll be in the dirt. Joseph makes the stop on it. 1 ball and 1 strike. One delivery over the top, catches the corner. 1-2. The Schaefer down on the count. Franklin at first, not extended his lead at all. Infield playing him to pull, but not all the way around. 1-2 count, and a check swing and a ball away. 2-2 from Drake.
Yeah, Oliver, who 43rd round draft choice out of Worcester, Mass. Came up through the minors as a starter. 2009 Delmarva, then the next year at Frederick, and then eventually to the bullpen.
2-2 delivery on the 80 off speed, had him way out in front, and records his second strikeout.
Yeah, he talked about yesterday about throwing the one that appears to be a strike, so it goes from strike to ball, and that's what you do with 2 strikes. Kind of like throwing a good curveball or slider. You don't have to throw it over. The movement of the ball sometimes fools hitters. Richie Schaefer succumbs to the splitter.
So Mikey Matuk coming up has already had a career day. 4 hits. He's had 2 singles, 2 doubles, a run scored. 4 for 4 ball game. Runner at first base with 2 away. That one skips. Good play made by Joseph to haul that one in.
Yeah, much better here at the big league level than he was in the minors. We saw Travis Shaw, who was called up by the Red Sox and had 11 home runs in his first 47 games, and he hit, at least for the moment, has hit better in the big leagues than in the minors. And he said preparation, the data, the videos, lights are better, a lot of factors.
He's upped his average with each level that he's moved up to. He's only in his 3rd season. First year had a 248 at Charlotte, Montgomery, and then 254 the next year, 292 first year at AAA. He's improved along the way, and obviously if you're looking for potential, you want to see that.
And then he went back and regressed, which is unusual.
Yeah. 3-0 count, 2 down. Oliver Drake, runner on at first base. He has struck out 2, trying to get the inning over with.
Well, it's pretty safe to say he likes fastballs in the middle of the plate, because that's pretty much what he's hit all night long. And he gets a splitter.
2 ball, 2 strike count.
And again, they must have seen each other along this ride in AAA. You know, Drake being the closer for the Norfolk Tides, and Took playing for Durham.
Two delivery on the way, and that's going to go to short. Hardy can't get a base hit. 5 for 5. 3 singles and 2 doubles. What a night for that youngster.
Well, he goes down and gets a split-fingered fastball, and on the turf, if you hit it hard, and he does, like he's hit all the balls hard tonight. I mean, you can see great extension through the zone. It's not a bad pitch. Went down and got it. Of course, it's only 80, so he's able to hook it into left field under the glove of J.J. Hardy.
So 2 on with 2 down, and here's Evan Longoria. Longoria's had a chance in every at bat. He had a runner on in the first, and he flied out. Had a runner at second in the third. He grounded out. He had 2 runners on in the 5th, and they intentionally walked him. Then he came up with 2 on in the 6th inning and hit into a double play. Well, Longoria's had a tough night, and here he is again with 2 on base. 13 hits for the Rays.
Yeah, another home run, and he will have his 7th home run season.
0-1 delivery on the way. Took a center record tonight for the Rays. He'll enter their record book as the first rookie to have 5 hits in a ball game. 0-2 count, 2 down. 8-5 ball game. These are not incidental runs that are potentially out there. And that one's going to be popped up. That'll be Jonathan Scope going back. The Orioles have handled Longoria, who's had a long night. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. Orioles will bat. 9th inning, down by 3. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer. We go to the 9th inning in the Shark Tank. In this case, the Rays on top and Boxberger the closer.
He is your closer with 30 saves, also 10 losses. First guy in a while to do that. Power, I mean, pretty good fastball, great changeup, and a big curveball. So again, what jumps out, to me at least, the 30 walks at 56 and 2/3 innings. So his last appearance in a series where the Rays only won 1 of the 2, but he blew by giving up 3 hits and 4 runs in the 9th inning. So again, he will come back in, and we will see again if the Orioles can have another comeback.
The Tuck will move to left field. From center, Kevin Kiermaier will come on to play in center. Defensive changes here in the 9th inning. Jonathan Scope, Pierce, and then Joseph Dua. Scope has picked up a single, 1 for 3, an 11-game hit streak. And we'll try and get on here as the Orioles try and get the potential tying run to the plate in the top of the 9th, down by 3. Pitch will be taken. Jonathan's in this group with the longest hit streaks. Peralta on top at 13. You see Jonathan there with 11, tied with Ryan Zimmerman. And Encarnacion continues his streak, 44 consecutive games reaching base. Scope will take it at the knees. It's in there for a strike, 2-1.
So the strike zone has gotten up just a shade lower than it was early in the game. Drew Smiley, who started this game, maybe a little annoyed at some low pitches that weren't called. That one was.
Scope, a home run off Boxberger, the only hit he's had. Longoria, he's now 1 for 7 against him. This copyrighted telecast, presented by authority of the Orioles, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Boxberger looking for the save. He's had 5 out of 6 against the Orioles this year. It's the 8th game he's appeared in. Given up 2 runs, 2 hits, 6 2/3 innings. 2 walks and 10 strikeouts against the O's. And the pitch up high. Pierce, a home run, 2 RBIs, 6th inning. Hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning and scored. One down here in the 9th inning. Pierce also a home run off Boxberger. 1 for 5. Count goes to 1-1. Orioles out hit in the game 13-4. And outscored so far 8-5. Not any longer. Way back left field. Pierce has got another one. Goodbye home run. Steve Pierce, second home run of the ball game. And the Orioles cut it to a 2-run game.
Yeah, the 18th home run that Brad Boxberger has thrown, which is was third, now maybe moved up a little bit higher. So a 2 home run game. In fact, all the Orioles, all 6 of them by the home run, 3 by Hardy, and the other 3 runs driven in by Steve Pierce. And again, that blown save on Monday against the Yankees, it all happened with 2 outs. The Yankees scored 4 runs.
So Pierce has got 13 long balls on the year now.
Yeah, just look at him get on this fastball. Great fastball hitter, inside middle hitter. Whether it's fastball, he knows it's gone. Right off the bat head. Orioles have their 6th run.
4 home runs against Tampa Bay this year for Steve Pierce. Now looking for a base runner to bring the potential tying run to the plate. The Orioles have been a team of comeback wins. You see the highest percentage via comeback. They are 4th, and they've got a shot here in this one again. Boxberger, 2 delivery on the way. Joseph nubs it to first. It'll stay in the air. Caught by Loney.
Well, there's a good pitch. In on the fist. And Caleb just tries to fight it off, but down to your last out.
Veteran J.J. Hardy, 3-run homer, second inning, his 8th. He has an 0 for 5 against Boxberger. 2 down, 9th inning. And Hardy will take the pitch outside for a ball. J.J. getting his first home run since July 29, when he had one against Atlanta.
And Parra has come out to pinch hit if J.J. can get on.
Outside Boxberger.
Well, he's got to be taken here. Make him throw a strike.
2-0 count, 2 down. There's Parra. Parra would hit for Alvarez in the 9 spot. And that'll be in there for a strike. Smiley could get the win. Tyler Wilson could take the loss if the score stays the same. 2 ball, 1 strike delivery. Boxberger's outside, and the count is 3-1.
I think you take here too.
Yep, make him throw another strike because he's struggling to do it right now.
And I don't know if he knows it, but when you do, this adds a little tension.
3-1 delivery is there,
and he was taken. That's good baseball. I mean, you got to hope that he'll throw a ball. He didn't, so you're probably not guaranteed, but probably going to get the same pitch with a 2-run lead to hit 3-2.
3-2 delivery on the way, and the ball game's over. So Hardy is called out on strikes here in the 9th inning. Orioles get a run on 1 hit. Leave nobody on. Steve Pierce, a 2-homer ball game. But the Rays come away with the 8-6 victory. Smiley wins it. He will go 3-2. Tyler Wilson, the loser, 2-2 in the year. Boxberger, his 35th save.